Hello everyone. Who is predestined to listen to learning Buddha's healing? Monk Minh Tue is not a small wave for other small waves. But the teacher's wisdom quietly returned to the ocean to silently save countless small waves. As long as you have the opportunity to listen and understand, 44 sayings of Monk Minh Tue during the time he walked alone. These words are worth contemplating for a lifetime. Please calm down and listen to eliminate karma, sadness, suffering. 44 sayings of Monk Minh Tue. Below are Thich Minh Tue's sharing words during the time he walked alone. 1. In mid-July 2015, I accidentally heard Buddhism while at work. I vowed to eat one vegetarian meal a day, read Buddhist scriptures and keep the precepts for 6 months. 2. I see that the purpose of Buddha's teachings is very noble, so I want to become a monk and decide to become a monk. 3. At first my parents didn't let me. After that, he also agreed. I received a share of the property from my parents like my brothers in the family, but I refused. I only asked my parents to sign a paper to let me become a monk. 4. At the beginning of my study, I didn't understand much. I'm like someone who studied in first grade, then in second grade, slowly learning more. People also taught me, so I understood more. 5. I studied at the temple for a while. My Dharma name is Thich Minh Tue. After that, I felt it wasn't right for me, so I left the temple and went to the mountain to live alone in a rock hole, begging for alms every day. Even though Buddha didn't say it, I chose to sleep sitting up for 3 years, not lying down. When I sleep sitting, I want to give up sleeping. When you're too tired, you can sit against a tree or a wall. 6. After staying in one place for a while, I found that I had no opportunity to touch and challenge greed, anger, and ignorance, so I decided to walk from south to north, and vice versa. I don't dare say in advance when I will stop. 7. I want to keep my old Dharma name, so I say my name is Thich Minh Tue, instead of saying my dirty name, Laam Tu. 8. Before becoming a monk, I had a job like many people, but I was not happy, because I thought that no matter who had a job, a civil servant, and a stable life, they would eventually get sick and get old, and die the same. You will be like them. 9. I want to learn the Buddha's sublime, wonderful, optimal teachings, meditation, wisdom, escape from suffering, and peace and happiness. 10. Whatever the Buddha explains, I follow it to have peace and happiness, not knowing for myself. I have not yet reached concentration. I'm still studying. 11. I became a monk to seek liberation. When you attain the right path and enlightenment, you will be able to repay your parents' kindness. 12. Every day I ask for no more than 1 meal a day to support my practice. I don't hoard anything to save, or ask for more. 13. I absolutely do not accept money, gold or items from anyone, in any form. 14. The clothes you wear are made from fabric you pick up from the cemetery or roadside trash. 15. I do not use robes of the same color as the monks, and do not say which temple I am in, because I do not want to borrow images to offend the monks and the temples. People may say that you are using me to cheat, or do wrong things, to influence them. 16. The bowl to receive food was prepared by me from a rice cooker that was given to me. That is not the monk's bowl and robe. 17. Life is impermanent. No one knows if you live today and die tomorrow, so you must soon become a monk. If you die tomorrow and lose this body, you will have no chance. 18. Someone asked me if I slept in a cemetery and saw anything. Ghost. It's not true that you said you didn't see it. Sometimes I see a dark shadow passing by. But it doesn't affect me, so it doesn't matter whether I see it or not. 19. Now I consider everyone my brothers, my parents. 20. There is no longer selfishness or hatred in my heart. I consider everyone in the world equal. 21. Now if you curse me, I still consider you my friend. 22. Even if people beat me, I still wish them all the best. 23. I wish for everyone to be happy. 24. Normally, when you have not yet developed the mind to practice righteousness and enlightenment, it is okay. But when you have developed the mind to practice, all kinds of beatings, cursing, and illness come to test your heart to see if you can overcome it. Can you overcome the 4 sufferings: birth, old age, illness, and death? For example, pain is the first thing that comes up to see if you are afraid of it. 25. People should not learn fortune-telling, because some things are right and some are not right. Buddha did not teach fortune-telling. Furthermore, if they were talented, they would have already told their fortune. Instead of learning divination, people should learn morality and precepts. Try to keep the 5 precepts. Don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't lie, and don't drink alcohol, and you will be happy. 26. Keeping the precepts is the first important thing in precepts, concentration, and wisdom. If you don't keep the precepts, you can't become a Buddha. 27. If you are vegetarian and keep the precepts, you will also succeed in cultivating Buddhism. 28. People give me enough vegetarian and salty food. When I eat, I choose vegetarian food. 29. Everyone should not bow to me, but bow to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. 30. I did not call or set up a crew to follow me and film me. But I don't chase them away either. 31. If they benefit from filming me, then I also wish them happiness. 32. For me, everywhere is a temple. So I don't care why this temple is open and that temple is closed. 33. I walk, not ride, to exercise. 34. I walk barefoot to feel what's under my feet. Do I step on insects and creatures? Moreover, shoes and sandals deteriorate faster than children's feet. 35. Those who don't have anything valuable on them are happy, because they don't have to worry about keeping anything. 36. I don't have anything, so I'm not afraid of anyone beating me or killing me to get my stuff. I'm not afraid of death, because I don't have anything I regret drinking. I need to live to keep it. 37. Someone asked me if I sleep in a leaf hut, in a cold forest. How can I sleep better than in a closed room with warm blankets and a soft mattress? I say it's still good, because according to the Buddha's teachings, sleeping anywhere is good, if there is no lustful mind. 38. Reading the Great Compassion Mantra must have some purpose. If for the sake of peace, it is necessary to recite the great compassion mantra, for example, to ward off a demon, then we have behaved evilly towards it. I don't want to take away anyone's place or security, for example from a demon, so I don't learn the great compassion mantra. 39. If anyone speaks ill of me or curses me, I'm not angry at them and wish them luck. If anyone says good things to you or compliments you, you should calm down, not let yourself get caught up in pride, and I also wish them happiness. 40. Say good things, say bad things, praise or criticize your child, it will all be the same. But I discovered two moods. When people give me food, I find them very happy and cheerful, and when people curse me, I see them blushing unnaturally. 41. I am not a monk or a teacher. I am a Vietnamese citizen like everyone else. I just want to learn to practice. I have no intention of propagandizing or preaching at all. All Buddha's teachings are available online. 42. Only when I achieve perfect enlightenment will I be able to teach the Dharma to everyone. Now, anyone who wants to learn can go online and listen to the monks' lectures. All Buddhist scriptures are available. 43. For those who practice, the elderly or poor, you should give them food, clothes, food or something. Those who are fallen, dissatisfied, and spoiled, I tell them not to kill, steal, live honestly, keep all 5 precepts, that is the Dharma of alms-giving. 44. For the past 6 years, I have not been a staff member at any temple. I am not from the southern or northern sects, nor am I a monk of the Vietnamese Buddhist Sangha, because I see that my morality has not reached that level. Minh Tue practitioner, a person practicing asceticism, calling himself son in communication, not claiming to be a temple monk, eating 1 meal a day, wearing patched clothes, sleeping at night under trees, cemeteries, abandoned houses, not accepting offerings, is becoming the focus of attention on social networks and receiving mixed opinions. Traveling alone with bare feet, with a robe pieced together from scraps of fabric found, a rice cooker core instead of a begging bowl, not accepting anything other than food for the only meal of the day, walking alone. Pseudo Minh Tue lives a homeless life, to practice letting go of self, that is, one's own ego and desires for a materialistic lifestyle. As long as you have the opportunity to listen and understand 44 sayings of monk Minh Tue during the time he walked alone. These words are worth contemplating for a lifetime. Please calm down and listen to eliminate karma, sadness, suffering. And its sincere statements like, I'm not a monk, I'm not a teacher at all. I am a Vietnamese citizen like everyone else. I just want to learn to practice. I have no intention of propagandizing or preaching at all. Those who practice Minh Tue sincerely say so. But it is his actions and the simple, humble words guaranteed by his actions that make many people ponder how to live more meaningfully. Now I consider everyone my brothers, my parents. In my heart there is no longer selfishness or hatred. I consider everyone in the world equal. Try to keep the precepts. Don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't lie. You will be happy. I walk barefoot to feel what's under my feet. Do I step on insects and creatures? Moreover, shoes and sandals deteriorate faster than children's feet. I don't have anything, so I'm not afraid of anyone beating me or killing me to get my money. I'm not afraid of death, because I don't have anything to regret. I need to live to keep it. Saying good things, saying bad things, praising or criticizing your child is the same. But I discovered two moods. When people give me food, I find them very happy and cheerful, and when people curse me, I see them blushing unnaturally. Few people have such honest, naive and tolerant contemplations. When I read The Ancient Path with White Clouds by Monk Thich Nhat Hanh, I became more confident in Monk Thich Minh Tue's barefoot steps on the ascetic path. There are many ways to practice, but they all aim for one goal: learning. For me, coming to study Buddhism is to tame my devious and wandering mind. Many people say that Buddhism is in decline. No, Buddhism has always been the same. When it declines, only people's hearts decline. Life always has doors open for those who know how to nurture hope. When the spirit of Buddhism in Vietnam was devastated by immoral people, monk Minh Tue appeared. The community is following the steps of monk Minh Tue. This may make his path of practice difficult and dangerous, but this may be a tribulation he must overcome. And looking at it more positively, perhaps he is contributing to the revival of Buddhism in Vietnam. That the teacher went down the mountain to save a doomed life. Also, please don't say harsh words to your relatives, saying that they have been living in dirty water sources for a long time, but now they see a clear stream and should be happy to welcome it. The appearance of monk Minh Tue helps us see many things, partly eliminating karma, sadness, and suffering. He is also the lens that reflects the bad aspects that still exist. The teacher's appearance also shows that people all over the country are always finding ways towards the light despite living in a series of traps. Traps like heaven and earth spread out from all sides. Buddha Shakyamuni once said, "I do not give blessings, nor do I bring misfortunes to anyone. Misfortunes and misfortunes are made by you. And believing in me without understanding is slandering me." Buddhism is a philosophy, a way of life to find peace in the soul. Buddha is not an omnipotent being who can bless this person or punish that person. Thus, the Buddha is a teacher, a person with intellectual capacity and compassion who spent his life helping people by opening their minds. The temple is the Buddhist school, the sutras are the textbooks, and the disciples are the students. Just that. Buddhism does not require cumbersome forms of worship or superstitious abstinence, but the most important thing is loyalty. Practicing doesn't just mean shaving your head, being a vegetarian, wearing robes or chanting Buddha's name. Cultivation is looking back at where you went wrong to correct yourself. When I can fix myself, that is also when I can solve many afflictions that make me miserable and tired. Amitabha Buddha is just the Buddha's name. You chant it for yourself. It is not a sentence praising the Buddha. Standing in front of the meditation gate, we silently recite the Buddha's words that we are searching for peace of mind within ourselves, so that we can have a clear mind, stay away from the brink of confusion, so that we can have the strength and wisdom to achieve it. What we wish for. Bowing to Buddha is not to pray, but is a way to show respect and gratitude to a wise monk who has shown the way for us to escape from ignorance and loss. 7 answers from monk Minh Tue about his journey. 1 meaning of the name Thich Minh Tue. Minh means bright, wisdom is wisdom. The meaning of the name is the path of illumination. Later, when I felt that I no longer had the connection to the temple, I went out and still kept this Dharma name. Quote, 2 about Buddhist monks. I am not a Buddhist monk, do not practice and am not a staff member of any temple or monastery of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha. Over the past years, I have only listened to the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha and learned to practice the Dao Dao practice. This practice has 13 ascetic methods, of which Dai Da practice is one of the highest and most classic methods of Buddhism. The ascetic accepts difficulties in matters of food, clothing, and shelter, wearing patched clothes, begging for alms, eating 1 meal a day, not accepting money offerings, refusing all comforts. 3 The footsteps have arrived. I have traveled all over the country. Only 3 provinces of Tay Ninh, Tra Vinh, and Ben Tre have not been to because these localities are not on the main road. 4 When to stop. My journey is to walk forever. The purpose is not to convey anything, because everything in Buddhism has already been taught by Shakyamuni Buddha. I just want to practice the Buddha's teachings to help perfect myself. When I walk, I always wish for everyone to always be happy and live happily with their families. 5 Clothes and food. I pick up clothes thrown on the side of the road or in the trash and sew them together to make clothes. If someone intentionally throws them to me, they won't accept them. Eat only 1 meal a day. When traveling on the road, if I meet a caring person who has the karma to send me vegetarian rice or water, I will use just enough. Crossing rivers and streams, I stop to bathe. In the evening, I often rest on the side of the road, and when I want to go to the bathroom, I stop at gas stations. For children, all walking journeys are not difficult. When moving, if your mind is peaceful, happy and can overcome obstacles, you will feel that there are no more obstacles ahead. 6 Regarding the event of people following me in the past few days. If everyone follows me to practice walking, exercise, walk in a straight line, and keep quiet and order, that's good. It is not advisable to focus on jostling each other to record, stream live, or shout chaotically, because creating noise will cause discomfort to those around you. While walking, there were many people wearing monk-like robes following, but they were not my disciples. But if anyone wanted to go with me, I would not stop them. Occasionally resting and chatting, I always advise them to remember to ask their family's permission. If they ever feel like they don't want to continue their journey, they can return home. If someone distributes leaflets or accepts money and then says the child is with him, that's not right. Children bring their own belongings. No need for people to protect them or receive money on behalf of them. If they accept it, they will bear it. Whoever did it will accept the consequences and be punished. 7 About my parents. Even though I haven't contacted my family for the past 6 years because I don't use phones or social networks, I always remember my parents' gratitude for giving birth and raising me. I personally always remember to follow Buddha's teachings to repay gratitude and pray for my relatives and family to have luck and peace. I don't have any assets or material things, but I give my loved ones the confidence that I will never cause them suffering, for example by not violating the law or affecting Buddhist organizations. By now, the crowd effect had affected monk Minh Tue, but if you do good deeds, it's okay to suffer a little injustice. Life is impermanent, no one knows if you live today or die tomorrow, so you must soon become a monk. If you die tomorrow and lose this body, you will have no chance. That's why some people think that if everyone carries a rice cooker if you go out on the street like monk Minh Tue, who will work? Everyone, let's go home. Let me practice because this is my vow. Everyone, please don't follow me and obstruct traffic. That's why some people say that monk Minh Tue incites people to follow, disrupting social order. Traffic. People ask me what I know, I answer, but how they film it, how they post it has nothing to do with me. If your words and your images help if people have some profit or help others have a better life, I am very happy and wish everyone happiness. That's why some people say that monk Minh Tue wants PR, polishing yourself when in the past few years you have not held a phone, do not know Wi-Fi, and have never reviewed your images on social networks, then what is polishing? While monk Minh Tue always thinks about others, on the contrary, he is attacked by other people. Many people asked why monk Minh Tue did not react or correct him. No need. Everyone, I did a good job. It's okay to suffer a little injustice. I'm practicing, I'm studying, but I haven't achieved anything yet. I'm not a Buddha or a saint at all. Journey. My purpose is to walk all my life. The purpose is not to convey anything. I just want to practice the Buddha's teachings, to help improve myself. When I walk, I always wish for everyone to be happy, live happily with family. Consider how much those people with impure minds are worth compared to the millions of people who love and support monk Minh Tue. Because of these sayings, karma, sadness, and suffering are eliminated. Tripitaka had to go through so many hardships to obtain the sutra. Kin once did a good deed but suffered unjustly. It's okay. To this day, people still praise it. Reading the answers of monk Thich Minh Tue, we clearly feel the profound wisdom, extraordinary willpower and immense compassion of the monk. Monk Minh Tue's mindful presence is like a shining light in the midst of the end of the Dharma, reminding of the ancient journey of learning. When the Buddha was still in the world, many of his disciples practiced the 13 principles. The virtue of early momentum leads to enlightenment. At the same time, the journey of walking and practicing according to the Dai conduct of monk Minh Tue teaches sentient beings to live in suffering, know suffering, and experience suffering to understand the cause of suffering. Then suffering will end on its own, not we must hope to escape suffering in order to be happy. A shirt doesn't make a monk, but a rice cooker makes a saint. From the perspective of a Catholic, we would like to quote the article by the author, a Catholic, posted in the Humanities Stories group. Perhaps many people who just read the title will think it is sacrilegious. Please tell me, The author did not mean that, so he put the word alum in quotation marks. That's just a metaphor because Thich Minh Tue reminds me of the alum tablet my mother used in the past to settle water. At that time, my family lived in an area where when we dug a well, only turbid lime water came out, so we only used it for bathing. Drinking water must be brought back to the river about a kilometer away. During the rainy season, the river water is turbid with alluvium. My mother poured it into the pot, then crushed alum tablets and dropped it in. A moment later, all the silt settled to the bottom, and above was clear water. Back to Thich Minh Tue. I only call him out of personal respect because he does not identify himself as a teacher or monk. He only recognized himself as someone who practiced following the Buddha's practices to find personal liberation. He also did not recognize which temple he belonged to, whether he followed the southern sect or the northern sect. He also did not say that he practiced Han Dai Da. This word I only heard a few other monks say about him. Therefore, declaring whether he is a monk of the Buddhist church or not is meaningless. He practiced this way 6 years ago, and about 3 years ago I also saw his picture on social networks. However, only now has he become a hot phenomenon not only on social networks but also in the daily activities of many people. Perhaps Shakyamuni Buddha also started like that. After many years of wandering asceticism and meditation, he went out to spread the Dharma and accept disciples. Jesus also wandered around Galilee for 3 years preaching the gospel of salvation. Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Luke chapter 9 verse 58. They are the spiritual and sacred leaders of religions and have their own unique characteristics, so I do not dare discuss them further. Because I am a Catholic, the image of Mr. Minh Tue reminds me of Saint Francis of Assisi, also known as Francis the Difficult, of Catholicism. He was born at the end of the 12th century, also joined the Holy War Army and was taken prisoner. He is a person with poetic talent and aesthetic taste. His father was a famous and wealthy silk merchant, and he himself inherited a stable job. He was a member of the Assisi Merchants Association from the age of 14. Yet, a deep calling awakened him and he gave up everything to commit to a life of poverty following the example of his monk Jesus. To restore old, dilapidated churches, he asked for every brick, every spare mortar. To have food, he only asked for leftover food when people had finished eating. To comfort the lepers, he came to them with passionate hugs, cared for and bandages their wounds. The Francis phenomenon at that time also had a strong impact on society. Many people gathered to his side, including nobles and rich people who sold all their assets, distributed them to the poor, and followed him. In fact, at first he only chose a path of practice for himself and did not call for disciples. But when the number of people coming to him reached 12, he had to go to Rome to ask the Pope for permission to establish an order. Initially, Pope Innocent III also seemed apprehensive about such a ragged group of monks walking barefoot. But that night, he dreamed of a cathedral tilting as if it were about to collapse, when a barefoot monk who looked like Saint Francis came to help it stand up. So the next day he called the Franciscan group in and approved the founding of the order. In Catholic terminology, the word church, église, église, church, when capitalized means the church, and indeed, the spirit of the St. Francis had a great impact on the life of the Church at that time and until now, even though he had no role in the Church, nor did he do anything to regulate the Church. We should remember that during his time, kings of European countries, before ascending the throne, came to ask the Pope to anoint them. Cardinals and bishops in every country hold important positions in the royal court, are granted lands and titles. Divine power covers secular power and secular power governs theocratic power. The luxurious and privileged lives of the clergy became obvious. That's why a poor, ragged monk like Francis becomes an abnormality that makes people afraid. I remember reading somewhere that Lenin once said, "If Russia had 10 people like Saint Francis, there would be no need for a revolution." This shows that the ascetic life of a true monk has a great impact on the community, because Saint Francis did not preach or advocate for any social program. He only cared for his small community, living in a way that his disciples could follow. The rest of God's teachings are in the Bible, and as Saint Pope Paul VI said, "Today people need testimony. People are better than teachers, and if they believe in teachers it is because those teachers are witnesses." Now, Mr. Minh Tue's ascetic lifestyle has also begun to impact the community even though he does not speak loudly about anything. "I am just a person practicing according to the Buddha's practice." The fact that more and more people follow him, of course, has many obstacles, but through that, I have noticed that some YouTubers and TikTokers, though not all, have begun to have clips that are not intended to attract views or likes, but just to praise a beautiful image, a shining example. A YouTuber saw 2 young men picking up the teacher to return the robe he had forgotten, asked about them, and when he found out that the other 2 were also YouTubers, he filmed them and introduced them to his channel. It can be said that this is an act of advertising to the other person, but they do it very happily, excitedly and friendly. Many of them looked like brothers and sisters, and were covered in tattoos, but they strongly defended Mr. Minh Tue against attacks. Recently I also read a priest's autobiography about Mr. Minh Tue that touched his spiritual life, making him look back at himself to learn to let go more. Of course, each religion or practice has its own path, but it seems that letting up is always the common denominator. Saint Francis and Saint Minh Tue are as quiet as alum tablets, but can turn turbid water into clear. In this time of turbidity, in confusion, it is difficult for us to recognize which is the faux essay to purify. Hopefully Mr. Minh Tue will be today's alum pill to make the faux essay settle down so we can have a source of fresh water. The days of hardship and loneliness are over, but I can't stop loving the small, skinny and respectable body of Mr. Minh Tue. Thank you for the winter months, knowing that spring will come and the warmth of the morning. Thank you for the bitter defeat, to smile with satisfaction, success today. Thank you for your sad words, from now on I know what to say. Thank you for being silent, knowing the human heart, There's nothing to worry about. Thank you for refusing. Let me step forward and practice. Thank you for Buddhist teachings. In the midst of adversity, life is still leisurely. Thank you, heaven and earth. Oh, how to say it all. Thank you from my heart. So much karma and sadness. Listening to the words of wisdom eliminates suffering and sadness. What do you think about 44 of the monk's wisdom that is worth a lifetime of contemplation? Listen to dissolve karmic hindrances. Make your vows to follow the path of practice, follow the Buddha's Dharma and follow the tireless footsteps of monk Minh Tue. Thank you for watching all of this video. If you find it useful, please subscribe to the channel, like and share for everyone to see.